Welcome back, another video on back garden tips. Got a little pw50 in, come as a non-runner. Choke cable snapped, so replaced the choke cable, did all the standard biz, cleaned all the carb out. I do a lot of videos on getting things running, so I'm not going to show you all that, but basically put new choke cable on, cleaned out carb out, cleaned out jets out, new spark plug in, still no fire. When you push kickstart down, it's only like grabbing there and to there, unless you let it back up, and then sometimes it grabs there, look, it'll grab from top. But when you're kicking it, sometimes you're getting nothing on the kick, sometimes you're grabbing it. That's not going to stop it from starting, unless you can't get any grab at all, and then it's not turning the engine over. But once you get a couple of grabs on it, it kicks up top and you can get a full swing on it. But stick it in start mode or run, either. It's got a brilliant spark, no fire whatsoever. So try his compression tester on it, and it will getting just under 25 pounds of compression, so around just above 20 and just below 25, in between there, on compression testing reading, and it should have over 100 to run. So yeah, so now I've just run customer. I don't know the guy, but it's through a friend of mine that's brought the bike up. Just rung him, told him. I tried, so what I did is when you do a compression test, it'll give you a reading with the throttle open full, give it loads of kicks or best you can, and then you take a reading. And then to test, what you do is put some 2-stroke oil in there. This is the general rule of thumb. Put a bit of 2-stroke oil in there, put your compression tester back in there, kick it again. If your compression goes up, basically the oil seats the rings better and gives it better compression reading. So when your compression reading goes up, that'll tell you that your piston rings or your pistons are worn or whatever. I'm getting no funny knocks or anything from the engine, so I just believe it's a worn piston. The compression went up to like 25 after I put a bit of oil in it, so yeah, I'm just gonna strip this top end down now and get a better reading and see what's going on. So stick with me and we'll see what goes on, see if we can find a problem of why the bike's not running. Right, so I've skipped forward. Tell you what I've done. So basically I've stripped the top end off, which we've got there on the floor. Basically it's just 4 10mm bolts. Take the head off. You've got a little copper gasket in there that can burn through, but it looked okay. So I stripped the head off, and then you've got 2 10mm bolts. Take your exhaust off, easy as that. Barrels off, and light's a bit shocking in there, but as if you can just see the wear on that barrel. Hard to see with my phone light. I don't use professional cameras or anything. I do everything off a phone and upload it off that. But there you can see the wear in barrel. And on the piston, got the good old scrape all the way down it, which you can see it's just burned through them rings there. So even though the rings are still moving and not seized in there, because that's what happens normally, the piston melts and seizes in there and it knackers the rings. But that piston there, that's not just a bit of wear. I can feel every ridge of them with my nail all the way around. So yeah, top end is dead, and the diagnosis of these is, so I'm gonna say it, and you're all gonna you all might disagree with me. It's all to do with the auto lube. I mean, Yamaha, they might spend thousands diagnosing and designing this auto lube and all this to make it run, yeah. But soon as that pipe goes onto a brass nipple, right, when oil is sticky, basically, right? When that blocks up, starves the engine, a 2-stroke, melts your piston, right? So it might be easier putting 2-stroke in a tub and calling it done, and then just throwing petrol in there. But I keep saying it over and over, I do not trust them auto lubes. Do not trust them whatsoever. I say it on the LT80s, I say it on the DTR 125s, I say it on everything, the pw50s, everything with an auto lube, I do not trust. And that is because when they block up, right, because of whatever reason, they block up, they melt the piston, right? And that is my saying on there. So me personally, I empty the tubs, I block the pipes off, and I put 2-stroke in the petrol. For the simple fact is, if you measure out the 2-stroke correctly, which what I do, I'm not saying everybody does it, but I use 125 milliliter to 5 litres of fuel, and I've done that for as long as I can remember, since a little kid, since I was driving these. When I got taught that, I've done that. 125 milliliter of the good stuff, MX5, MX9, Castrol, not the cheap stuff. 125 mil to 5 litres of fuel, right? You'll never have a problem. Well, I am. So that is my advice, and you'll save this doing. People might say a little bit too much oil is too bad for it, but a little bit too much oil will blow a spark plug, right? These are like £3 to buy. A piston, 50-60 quid. I'd rather change 20 of these at £3 a time over a matter of years than pay 60 quid a couple of times a year, because I know in the long run that replacing that is cheaper than replacing a piston. So that is my advice. Stop using auto lube, learn how to mix 2-stroke like a proper person, and run it in your tank. And yeah, they do, on another note, they do 60cc big bore kits for these. So it might be getting an upgrade, or I'll speak to the customer, see if he wants a 60cc putting in there. But when you do that, obviously got to play with the jets, because you wanting more fuel, you need to give it more fuel. Then you've got to play with air filter, because you're using more fuel, it needs more air. So simple fact is, because it's only a little nipper's bike, little kid's bike, replace like for like, stick it back as a 50, don't have to mess with anything. Before you know it, the little kid is back up and running. And that's what it's all about, keeping the kids interested in the motorbikes. So yeah, stick with me, and I'll probably skip it back to when the new piston's here, and we'll rebuild it and go from there. Well, she's up and running. So after video, when we checked, it was only getting 20 psi. Bought a new eBay kit, new top end, less, only cheap. Come with head, barrel, spark plug, gasket kit. Now, when the gasket kit came, it kinked in the box. The package were really well done. In the box, kinked the top head gasket, the metal one. So I emailed them, and they sent a full gasket kit out next day delivery, so you can't complain on customer service. Didn't bat an eyelid, just said I'll get them out to you straight away. So in the meantime, waiting for the gasket kits came, I just pieced it together. Obviously once gasket came, threw it together. Didn't bother videoing that, but really it's 4 bolts, it all comes off. I forgot, I haven't seen you, so yep. So that's your piston. See it like scraped. The rings I have freed up, but they were stuck. But the rings are freed up now, but you can see the old piston scrape. There's the old gasket, I don't think you can see in there. Where is it? There. Light's a bit bad. All scraped in there. That's the old copper gasket. Now you can re-enamel these by getting them glowing with a blowtorch to re-enamel the copper, but just put the fresh ones that come in kit on, do you know what I mean? But if you do get stuck and you can't get hold of any and you're in a rush to get out, get these glowing red with a blowtorch, let them cool down, and then you can reuse them if there's no splits or cracks in them. That's the old head. Nothing wrong with that, so yeah. That's another one. That's another one boxed off. The only thing that I'm having problems with now is I've cleaned the carb out, I've got it running, it runs on the auto lube. The only thing I'm having at the moment now is I did put a new choke cable on, but it is needing the choke to start. And if you turn, I'll leave that off. Turn it off while it's not running. Put it on the stand, flick the switch on to start. And you give it about 20 kicks with the choke pulled up, no throttle. 20 kicks with the choke pulled up before it starts to fire. And then it starts firing and dying, firing and dying, firing and dying. Still giving it no throttle. And then it fires and it ticks over. Sweet. And then put it in a run. So you can give it then throttles, because these have that weird settings where you've got to have it in start then run for it to, otherwise it chops the revs. And then once it's warmed up, give it smoke coming out of everything. Once you've got it all warmed up, the bike then starts first kick every time. Everyone's sweet. The only problem is when you leave it cold, you've got to use the choke and you've got to give it loads of kicks with no throttle. That's the only downside to it, but I've cleaned all the carb out, I've been through all that, the air filter's sweet, there's no air leaks. Apart from that, so now I'm literally starting it and running it for 20 minutes at a time, letting it all get warmed up and that, then letting it cool down, then starting it back up, just doing the heat cycles on this new piston. So when I give it back to the little kid, he don't have to worry about giving it little heat cycles. I mean, it's only a little 50cc, but you've got to bed the rings on the piston before you start giving it full beans and knacking top ending again. So I just what I do is I run quite a bit of fuel down in tank, make sure it's boarding nice for him, and then hopefully the little lad can enjoy his bike again. Yeah, apart from that, I think it's ready to go. I just got to run it, like I say, run it in for the next piston. We want piston rings in for the customer, so then it's okay for the kids. So yeah, next time I'll probably get a video of how to do these, but it's literally 4 bolts, and if you get stuck, there's you'll find videos on YouTube. I just skip past certain bits, but if there's any questions on any bikes or quads you see me fixing that you're unsure of yourself, stick a like and a comment on, or direct message me, and if I can help you out over messages then I'm more than happy to do so. Yeah, watch out for the next project.